The Niagara Pump House is proud to present Living Desert, paintings by Robert Herman. The works in this exhibit were inspired by time spent in the desert.
It gave me the time to look around and realize that there was a lot more in the desert that was living than was actually dead in the desert. And most of the plants that are there that are in this show are in pretty harsh conditions that, range from 115 degrees Fahrenheit all the way down to 20 degrees minus Fahrenheit. So I got interested in them because they have a kind of a weird survival mechanism in that kind of environment. So lots of photographs, and then bring them home, and then decide what am I going to do with them. The series before this, which actually the show was here, was based on native masks. So similar to the native masks, if you have a look at these, they kind of break down into pattern and color more than anything else. And that's what interested me, was the connection between these plants looking sort of similar to me to the mask collection that I worked on.
The exhibition explores a collection of desert succulents through the medium of acrylic on canvas.
Some of the work started off, like the work behind me, as fairly large pieces, and then eventually I decided on this format of 2x2s. And then within the 2x2 format, sort of working the plant into it in a circular fashion so that it was sort of like a mandala, circular spiral within that. And then the other interesting thing about it, which, unless you go and you have a look at these, some of these plants are 3 feet across and some of them are 2 inches across. But because they're all in the same size format, you don't know that. So it gives you kind of a different perspective, because you actually get to look at it with all of them having kind of an equal value, when in fact they're very, very different. You go to the desert, which really did not interest me at all. And not at all. People were saying, you really need to go there and see what's there, because it's really quite beautiful. And I'm thinking, really? It's dry and dusty. Why would you vacation there? And then you go and you actually, have the time to look at some of this stuff, and it's pretty interesting. The weird thing about it for me is I got interested in it because, these plants are living in a really harsh climate. And this year particularly, with the weather changing and all the rain that they had, in a 2-week period they had 70% of the rain in the Coachella Valley that they get in the whole year. So half of this stuff is gone because there's too much water for it. So they rot. So it's kind of interesting, I was really kind of attached to this stuff because I'm thinking, it's bizarre that these things grow in such a harsh environment. And the environment we're used to, we're always looking for water for our plants. That's not what they want. So when you get the heavy rains coming out of the mountains, washing down into the valleys, the grasses do really well, but the succulents die. They just die off, it's so weird to me.
Living Desert, paintings by Robert Herman, will be on display at the Niagara Pump House Arts Center until May 31st. In Niagara, you're watching The Source.